Nico making Tennessee's defensive backs better is what? Awesome or scary? Now, I'll play off this quote as Tennessee visited with the media to properly set this up. And that is this quote right here from Jermod McCoy. Tennessee defensive back said, I feel like Nico is making me better. He is reading my eyes, and I need to learn how to give a different look than what he thinks is coming. He's definitely made me better. 92% of the people on YouTube say it's awesome. Nico is ahead of schedule. 8% say scary. What's with UT's defensive backs? Caleb, where do you stand?
I think it could be scary, but with the caveat, which is this. The reason I say it could be scary is because Jermod McCoy could be dealing with just playing in a system that is so up-tempo that puts so much pressure on defensive backs as it is that he's not used to having that pressure put on him. So it could be maybe Nico's reading his eyes, but heck, maybe even if Joe Milton were running the practice right now, he'd still be under a lot of duress because Josh Heupel's system puts the defensive backs under a lot of duress, whether he's facing them or whether they're part of his team to be complementary. There's just a lot of pressure on them.
I believe firmly that Nico is ahead of schedule. And by ahead of schedule, I mean the average redshirt freshman. Today's tough question brought to you by Work Trucks, because Jermod McCoy is not a guy with zero experience. I know he's still an underclassman. He is a sophomore by class, but he has played in 12 games in college football at Oregon State. I started 5 as a true freshman. So it's not as if he's completely inexperienced. If a true freshman said that, I would think that no big deal. But he is experienced enough where this carries some weight. I think if Nico is starting to look people off, that in and of itself is ahead of where a redshirt freshman would be, Caleb. So if he's looking off defenders, if he's looking off defensive backs, forget about arm strength, mobility, and all that stuff. That's another level of understanding football. That of all the quotes that came out yesterday stood out the most to me as Tennessee's defensive backs met with the media.
Yes, but and on principle, I'm mostly with you because look, Nico was a veteran last year when he played in the Citrus Bowl. His reaction to defenses was the most impressive I've seen for a true freshman. We didn't see him move players with his eyes as much, but there wasn't the opportunity. But his reactions were good. Jermod McCoy was a freshman All-American at Oregon State. I had plenty of reason to believe in him. However, and I want to make this clear, Jermod McCoy played in the Pac-12 North last year. Now, he did play UCLA, and I give him props for that. But, Dave, as you know, well, there was no Pac-12 North last year, but he played more Pac-12 North teams because he was going to play Washington State, Washington, and Oregon. And he also played the Pac-12 teams he ran against were Utah, Cal, and Stanford. Dave, everybody I named play that old-school Pac-12 style football. What I mean by that is, you know this, Pac-12 is quarterback-driven and quarterback-friendly, but it's not about tempo, right? Old school West Coast football is not tempo at all.
Okay, so you think that McCoy may be having a little bit more trouble with the tempo?
Correct.
Okay, correct. Based off his quote, he's reading my eyes. That to me is different. Now, I think what may be happening, correct me if I'm wrong, is you already think a lot of Nico, so this probably doesn't surprise you very much, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But the other part of this is, Dave, the hard truth of this is quarterbacks don't really move players with their eyes in Josh Heupel's offense.
No, they don't.
I mean, who's he looking off? I mean, 95% of the time, the first read is there for those who don't know this offense. There was a Hendon Hooker 2 years ago in his Heisman campaign, threw to his second read 16 times all year.
Let me clarify. That doesn't mean he knows the receiver that he's throwing to. He makes the read and then chooses one of two receivers, and to go to a different read would be looking at a defender. I'm not clarifying that for you, Caleb. I'm just clarifying clarifying for that some that might be watching.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, it's never really a first read. It's your first read is the opposite way of where the safety went.
He doesn't take a snap and said automatically throwing it to Brew no matter what. I mean,
he didn't do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to. Okay, so he's wondering. That's an interesting stat. 16% of the time you have to make.
No, just not 16%, just 16 times.
Oh, 16
times all year in 2022. Hendon Hooker threw to his second read. Wow. So that is how simple this offense is. So the only thing that throws me off with Jermod McCoy's quote is this, and now maybe this should be exciting for Tennessee. Is this a new element in the offense? Are they having Nico read off the first read more than Heupel usually does? Is Nico that good? If so, this leads to my point, Dave, beyond what I had even already predicted, which is that this offense could just reach another level. I can imagine if this Heupel offense has a quarterback who can look off his first read and move safeties with his eyes, given how quickly they're expected to get rid of the ball.
Okay, let me ask you this. Nico, I know your answer to the first question, but work with me here for a second. Nico overall will be better than Hendon Hooker, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Nico overall will be better than Hendon Hooker this year than Hendon Hooker was in 2022.
Yes.
Okay. Nico will be better in month number 1 than Hendon Hooker was in 2022. And before you answer that, I want to remind you, brought to you by Work Trucks, all about trucks that are actually available, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work truck vehicle now. The perfect vehicle, work vehicle, doesn't break down, has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting is about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips and trucks that pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process is also quick and easy when choosing a vehicle from Work Trucks. Cargo vans, utility body trucks with an Apide work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, and anything special like cranes or dump trucks. Work Trucks specialize in vehicles for people just like you, contractors, no dealership run around. You've got to know Work Trucks. Clinton Highway or downtown Birmingham, Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. You can order online. If you're a contractor and you don't know Work Trucks, you're shorting yourself. You got to go to Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols. Will Nico hit the ground running and be better than Hendon Hooker right off the bat?
Yes.
I think you're crazy. I love you to death, but I think you're crazy. No, listen, he could struggle against Oklahoma potentially. I mean, that's a deep. He could, but he could, and but he's still, I believe, midway what you believe. By the end of the year, he'll be playing at a higher level than Hendon Hooker. But I think to say that he's going to run out there in his first year as a true starter and be better in month 1 is way too strong. I'll check the poll question on YouTube in one moment. First, you, Caleb.
Well, here's what you're missing. So if you said first 2 weeks, I would have agreed with you because I think Nico's going to play very sloppy against NC State. I think he's going to try. I think he's still going to be working on finding a rhythm with his receivers and everything like that. I think Tennessee's going to get past NC State. And I've been telling you guys this, and I keep saying it. Mark that date now, Tennessee, Oklahoma. That is going to be the watershed game of Tennessee football with Josh Heupel and Nico Iamaleava. They are going to light up Oklahoma that day. On Sunday, after that, everybody's going to talk about Nico Iamaleava. On Monday, the casual college football shows like the First Takes or the Colin Cowherd shows or whatever Skip Bayless is doing at that time, since his show is no longer in existence on Fox Sports 1. They will all be talking about Nico Iamaleava and this sensation that has taken over college football. It will happen at the Oklahoma game. Last time I checked, Dave, that's in September.
All right. So you think Nico is a better player in month number 1 than Hendon Hooker, who was a Heisman, who would have been a Heisman finalist, was a Heisman candidate, would have been invited to Oklahoma, or excuse me, New York, I believe. You think that Nico's better out of the chute. That's I
He's
go
got
with
it.
you in a lot of these, but I can't go with you on that one.
Okay, so when I talk all the time about the quarterback created in a lab to run a system, sometimes they come out as true freshmen and just ball out, or first years in the system, but they take a little while. Like, for instance, Johnny Manziel, I will give you. Remember Johnny Manziel struggled his first month in Kevin Sumlin's system?
Yes.
And then, but Kevin Sumlin wasn't there the year before. Go and look at what Jameis Winston did under Jimbo Fisher his first year. Jameis Winston was a redshirt freshman, had worked under Jimbo Fisher for a year, and came out and just absolutely lit up everybody from the start of the season.
It's a pretty good point. I'll give you that.